Всем привет, меня зовут Наташа, приветствую вас на моем канале, спасибо, что смотрите. Сейчас, в данную минуту я иду на презентацию книги. Книга называется Place for Us. А на самой презентации должна быть Сара Джессика Паркер, да, та самая актриса из «Секса в большом городе». Я очень надеюсь ее там увидеть и вам ее показать. Поэтому смотрите. Вот, пожалуйста, час пик в метро в Нью-Йорке. Видите, сколько народу. Все бегут с работы домой. Кто-то бежит, возможно, на свидание, на тренировку и так далее. А еще обратите внимание на людей. Это самые настоящие нью-йоркеры. Те, кто живут здесь, в NYC. А вот это здание справа, красное здание, это и есть Barnes & Noble, книжный магазин, в котором будет проводиться презентация. Это сеть, даже я бы сказала, книжных магазинов в Нью-Йорке. Именно этот находится на Union Square. В нем 4 этажа, в других бывает 2 или 3 этажа. Но вы представляете, сколько может быть книг на 4 этажах. То есть здесь вы сможете найти любую книгу, поверьте мне. Что еще мне нравится в этом книжном магазине, это то, что здесь есть кофейня, а именно Starbucks. Сейчас вы ее увидите. И что классно, что вы можете взять любую книгу, взять кофе, сесть и почитать ее. А что самое интересное, вам не нужно будет покупать ее. Классно, да? Ну и сама Сара Джессика Паркер.
And we're obviously not alone in our love for Fatima and her fabulous novel. A Place for Us not only marks the launch of an incredible new American voice, it also marks the launch of a new imprint, SJP for Hogarth. And to quote Sara Jessica Parker, the imprint's editorial director, Fatima captures your mind and heart with an urgency that defies you to stop reading. I guarantee you will be different when you close this book. Sara Jessica Parker also serves as the American Library Association's honorary chair of Book Club Central. As honorary chair, she will provide a selection of recommended titles throughout the year. She's also the star and executive producer of Divorce, which premiered in October 2016 on HBO. She currently serves as vice chairman of the board of directors for the New York City Ballet. And in November 2009, the Obama administration elected her to be a member of the President's Committee on the Arts and the Humanities.
Wow.
She lives with her husband, 3 children, and lots of books in New York City. I need to introduce. Joining Fatima and Sara Jessica on stage tonight is Lisa Lucas, Executive Director of the National Book Foundation. And one of the great champions of books and authors and reading. So please join us in welcoming Fatima Farheen Mirza, Sara Jessica Parker.
What was your first experience of reading the book?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
It was rapture. It was, I think, astonishment, admiration. Not unlike another book that has been very meaningful to me in a way that it had become my gold standard as I tried to pursue this imprint and titles. When I read Anthony Mara's book, A Constellation of Vital Phenomena, I felt similarly. I was so astounded by the talent, by the youth of the author, by the sort of preternatural gift. I was heartbroken, I was thrilled, I was hopeful. I mean, as these characters, as I sort of absorbed them and it became part of my life, as I slowed down and tried not to rush, I didn't want it to end. But whether or not I was going to have an opportunity to help shepherd this book into the world, I knew that it was a gift for readers, and I knew that this voice, that Fatima's voice, was a new, obviously, but very important and powerful American voice that needed to be heard, that needed to be read. And I was enormously excited about her future, and devastated that I could never read it for the first time again. You know, that I would never have that experience.
It's the worst when you love something and you just can't ever get back there again.
It is, but it was a privilege to read. Even if she didn't choose us, I still felt it was a privilege to have this early glimpse at this writer in the early part of her career, because I think she has enormous amounts to offer.
I agree.
Questions that I had asked all those years that I had been living at home.
Yeah, so you started when you were 18 years old.
Yes.
And how long did it take you to finish it?
I submitted the final version of the novel a few months ago. So when I was 27. I'm
27. All right, so between 18 and 27,
Yes.
right, you managed to tell this like sweeping, epic story of family. Like where did it come from? You're so young to be writing something that goes multi-generationally, that tries to tell a family story, brothers, sisters, mothers, grandparents, and lovingly and empathetically. What did you draw from to be able to tell this kind of story that's so moving and so intimate and so in-depth about a family when you're just beginning?
So the first image that had come to me of this family was there's a family that's gathered at a wedding, and it's the wedding of their eldest daughter and their youngest son, Amar. They're waiting to take the photograph, and they're trying to see, they're looking out at the crowd and they're wondering, is he going to make it in time? And that was the first image that came to me, and I was really curious because I wondered, why wouldn't he? And what were all of the reasons and decisions that led to that moment? And so the entire novel was written as a way to figure that moment out. So I didn't know much when I began, but I knew that I wanted to tell the story from the most balanced perspective that I could. I didn't want it to just be about why Amar runs away, or what are the decisions that cause Hadia to be on the stage in that moment. I wanted to tell a full picture of what it meant in fiction or in any of the stories that I was consuming. And that wasn't even something that I was conscious of. I was not at all aware of it. And I've always been a writer, and I've always written, and I would always begin stories about culturally, ambiguous characters. And I remember the first time that I wrote down Hadia's name, and I remember that moment, and I paused. It was almost as if I was shocked that was the name that had come to me, and I was shocked because it was the first time I had the impulse to write down the name of somebody who could have been my sister, could have been what I was named, could have been anyone from my community.
And what you debut with is important. It's tone setting, and this is quite a book to set a tone. And so I'm curious, what you hope that this means for all of the other books you will publish, and about this book too, of course.
Well, I picked it. I hoped for it when I read it, but we had to be picked by Fatima. So, and I was and continue to be aware, and now sort of in the present, that this book speaks volumes about my intentions. What do I want this imprint to share? The kind of titles, the kind of stories that I think are not just important, but also absorbing and transporting and allow us to know one another better. this book accomplishes all of that. I mean, those are the things I knew I wanted. Literary fiction, I think, is a very special place. It's a very special genre in publishing, and what I love about it is that it deserves caretaking. It deserves, it needs to be shepherded. It deserves time and attention, and it asks of its readers. And as an avid, greedy, voracious reader, I want an author, I want to be in a relationship where they're asking something of me as well. And I just, when we read this book, we were all taken with the story, partly because of what Fatima's just shared, but also because it so beautifully and seamlessly, and not as a lesson, allows us and accomplishes all the things that were important to me. So I feel that she did so much of the work for me, and I think it allows other authors to perhaps trust me, to consider me when we're, in an auction and we're trying to get a book that up to now it's been an unknown, it's been a theoretical, and so now I feel this is a point of pride. I can hold this up and say, these are the kinds of stories and the kinds of authors we want to support and we want to press into readers' hands and we want to introduce. And so yes, it's enormously fortunate that I mean, it's just incredible fortuitous timing that all of this happened at that time, and that she said yes, that she allowed me, a newcomer, to join her in this extraordinary and delicate and important part of her professional life.
Right. Who inspired you to become a writer, and when did you decide to write a place for us, which we know, but who inspired you to become a writer? It's not signed, but thank you for your question.
I don't know if there was any one person who inspired me to become a writer, but I will say that I have been so lucky to be, sorry, I just saw me.
This is one of my favorite readings and Q&As ever, because you guys just keep gushing.
Really happy.
And I'm just like so happy for everybody. I'm just like, yay, this book exists. I'm just really with my family. I just want to hug everybody. This is my favorite. It's okay.
I'm really happy. It's a good experience for you. I'm pretty stressed out.
And you landed a joke, which is like you just slayed at book launch.
But I will say that I've been so, even though I can't trace who inspired me to write, I've been so lucky to be around people who have lit the way to allow me to do this. And I will stop there, because...
The next one is for both of you, and it's from Fiona. Thank you, Fiona. What is your favorite word and why? I thought it was a good one. Lighten it up a little bit. We're talking about words, many of them bound between two covers. Book. I think we know why.
This is going to be so embarrassing to say, but I'll just say it. I love the moon, and so I'll just say moon, which is very obvious.
All right. Is the character Amar a compilation of your brother's personalities to some degree? Or does he resemble you more? This one's for you.
My brother is in the audience. He is shaking his head. No, Amar is not a compilation of my brothers. It is difficult to, trace who Amar is, but Amar is the character that I've felt the most affection for, and I think that's why the novel exists, because the whole novel exists in order to understand Amar and understand, why Amar is and how Amar is, kind of thing.
I always, often, I asked Fatima, how is Amar? Have you seen Amar lately? from the very beginning, and so many early readers have talked about the role that Amar plays now in our living life, in our everyday lives. It reminds me actually a lot of Theo Decker from Goldfinch, the way I used to worry about him all the time, and still do. Sometimes I think I see him, I'm like, but I think, you know, it's not that I care more for, but I worry. I don't worry about Hadiya, you know.
It's so amazing that you said that, because that's actually what the mother Layla says in the book. She says, I don't worry about you, Hadiya, I worry about Amar.
And sometimes that's unfair, that role that Hadiya plays in the family, where you're, you know, you're the reliable, steady, you know, that character is. But Amar is so heartrending, you know, his secrets and his internal.
I didn't even read.
Time or not?
Yeah, we do. You want to read? We do have time? Yeah. Okay.
Good Lord. Well, this is the kicker. Now you've been hearing about all these characters. I actually kind of like this better, doing the reading at the end. You've been hearing about it and falling in love, so now you can actually hear from these wonderful, beautiful characters. I am so sorry, though. Now I know why you were looking all...
No, that was definitely not why I was stressed. I was a little relieved about that.
Oh, sorry.
No, we warmed you up. This is going to be great. I'm very excited now.
I'm excited. It's gonna inhabit three perspectives: Amar, Hadiya, and then Layla. So if I pause, that is why. As Amar watched the hall fill with guests arriving for his sister's wedding, he promised himself he would stay. It was his duty tonight to greet them. A simple task, one he told himself he could do well, and he took pride in stepping forward to shake the hands of the men or hold his hand over his heart to pay the women respect. He hadn't expected his smile to mirror those who seemed happy to see him, nor had he anticipated the startling comfort and the familiarity of their faces.
Манхэттен вечерком. Вот я оттуда вышла, вот он Барнс-энд-Нобл, покидаю, бегу к своим любимым. Вот такой вечерний Нью-Йорк. Тут хорошо. Очень много людей, всегда причем. Ну все, бегу домой. Сара Джессика очень крутая, она такая простая вообще, вот ты ее видишь в жизни после фильма, и это абсолютно нормальный, обычный человек, такой же, как и мы все с вами. Ничего какого-то экстраординарного в ней нет, но вы обратили внимание на ее шузы, на ее туфли? Они суперские, просто все в стразах вообще. Всю презентацию я только на них, наверное, и смотрела. Но она очень крутая, очень. Это стоило того. Спасибо мужу, что сегодня в день презентации нужно было с утра поехать и взять браслет. Вот, он сходил и взял его, взять браслет и купить книгу. Вот, то есть он все это сделал, за что ему большое, огромное спасибо. Ну а я бегу к ним. У меня дома не было 3 часа. Ну все. Ну все, спасибо, что все смотрели. Я не думаю, что очень хорошо слышно. Все, ребятушки, пока-пока. Мой поезд уезжает, не успею.